Alright, so for this speech, I'm going to explain how a fishing pole works. It's got two parts. You got this front part and this back part. Actually, it's got more than two parts. That's just, and you slip it in there. It's actually got three parts. And you got another part right here. This is your reel. Pretty much, it's pretty simple. You line it, and then you stick your line. You have to, this flips up. And when you line it, you make sure your line stays underneath this little ball right here, the little mechanism right here, and it has to stay under that. And then you can bring your line. You have to flip this up, and you bring your line through and through these little eyes, all the way to the top. Bring it down a little bit. You lock it on top of the line, and it locks it from going. I guess just tension. It won't let it come no more. And then you take your string and you apply a hook to it and bait, and then when you're casting, you flip this, grab your string, flip it out. It flips the string. If you have like weight or whatever you're using, weight bobber or whatever, it'll flip it out there. So again, that's just flip that up, grab your string, flip, and then you let go. Otherwise, it won't go nowhere. You'll flip it and let go, and it goes. And then you flip that back when you're done, and then you just wait. It's really a waiting game. And then when it'll let you know, like usually, unless you're using bobber, then you'll see your bobber playing with it. But if you're using weight, you'll know when something's messing with you. And then you just set the hook. Once you're pretty sure, you just give it a good yank, and it sets the hook, and then you can just reel it in and play with it. Reel it in. And there's different kind of baits. A lot of people use worms. There's all sorts of little lures you can use. There's jigs, for just depending on the fish that you're fishing. Trout, like salmon eggs. Worm. I've caught them on bread. I've caught them on a lot of stuff. I've caught them on a piece of gum. Depending on how stupid the fish is, if whatever hits the water they eat. I'm pretty much. You can catch a fish on anything. Depending on the fish. Some fish are smart, some fish are stupid, and whatever you throw in the water, they go for. I've had fish where you could throw a hook and just because the hook's in the water, they bite the hook. Also depending on how often you go fishing, and where you go is. In the summer, I go fishing a lot. It's fun to do, and I enjoy it. Some other baits, like for bass and your fish like that, your bass and smallmouth and largemouth bass, they like lures and jigs. You'll jig them, and that's a jig. You want to when you cast it out, you want to keep the jig moving. Or you could use a spoon or whatever for trout like spoon. And you just sit there and jig it, and then it's pretty much a prosthetic insect. It's supposed to mimic a prosthetic. It's supposed to mimic a insect, and bass just like the movements. And spoons, the way they work they're just little shiny objects that trout like, because in the sun it'll reflect into the water a really bright shine, and the fish are attracted to it. And bass are really territorial, so the more noise you make, the more they're gonna bite, especially if it's during like spawning season and stuff, when they're laying their eggs and stuff like that. If you get this big old clunking noise driving by their nest, then it'll make them attack it, and they'll do it territorial, and then you catch them. And there's a couple ways. You could hooking a fish in the mouth is a fair catch. He's good, but there's also what they call like snagging them, or where you hook them outside their body. Like I've done that a few times. I've hooked them in the eyes, just by luck, by them going for it and not taking it, but then not getting too close to it, and it hooks them anyway. So yeah, I've hooked them in the tail, I've hooked them in the body. That's fun because then it makes the fish seem way bigger than they are because they're coming in an awkward position, so they're fighting differently than they would if it was in their mouth and they're coming in straight. Like if you hook them in the side, then they're coming in sideways, so it's much more resistance, and it makes the fish bigger. And then when you get it in, you're like, really, is that really what I just caught? Yeah, so fishing I've done in a while, and it's just something I enjoy doing, and I do every summer and even winter. Especially here in Boise, it's pretty nice in the winter, so you can do it all year round. It's not like, like Coeur d'Alene where the lakes freeze over. I used to live in Coeur d'Alene for 3 years, and yeah, fishing in there is fun in the summer. Otherwise, in the winter you're ice fishing. But here in Boise, you can do it all year round and enjoy it. Yep.